Hello, everybody. Today is day 48 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. It is June 9th, 2024, and today was my Sunday without the kids, productive day, whatever. Last night, actually, I my daughter had her boyfriend over and we were all watching The Hobbit together. Um, which I am like ultra nerd, love, like obsessed with Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, all of that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah, that was a blast. I was totally absorbed in that. Turned off everything else to just, you know, be present watching that because I freaking love it. And we took her boyfriend home and then came back home and we were catching up on Gilmore Girls, which we've been trying to watch together for a really long time. We've had sort of like a break from it for a while and we're on like the last few episodes of watching the entire season or series together. So we watched a couple of those and it ended up being like 2 in the morning before we went to sleep. I was absolutely exhausted, to the point of like I was lying there like a zombie and my 13-year-old was like, "Hey, like just turn off the stuff and go get yourself to bed." And I'm like, "I can't move." Um, so that's not my norm for sure. I usually go to bed earlier than that. So I was exhausted and ended up sleeping, like turned off all my alarms and whatever to let myself get the rest that I needed since I didn't have any kids. Well, my younger kids anyway. And slept until like 11:30 in the morning, which like as soon as I woke up, I was like, fuck, right? Like I didn't want to sleep that long, but I also know that when I don't let myself catch up on sleep when I do something stupid like staying up till 2 in the morning, that I'm just not effective, right? So I knew that I needed to not set an alarm and let my body sleep for how long it needed to sleep for. Um, so I did. And the rest of my day was productive and was great, right? It just was like, oh, half my day is gone, and of course, then it's always looking back and just going, well, it was because of decisions I made. So that's on me. And also suspending disbelief that like I get to sleep in, I get to have that rest after making a stupid decision and staying up. And I also get to still get the things done that I need to get done. Right. So it's, I'm really loving how the game of life now sorry, is a both and game instead of an either or game. It's not like I only get to have one thing or I only am allowed one of the options. I get to have all of them. I get to get my, have my cake and eat it too. I don't know, whatever, it just, things have shifted enormously in that way. Um, Being productive and also giving myself grace is something that I've been working on a lot over the last couple of years. So this isn't like an overnight shift in this department, but it has just amplified over the last 48 days. It has really grown into just a complete way of being instead of something that I have to be super conscious of. Um, which also makes it a little bit hard to describe in these episodes, but it is just so much more ingrained. After starting this challenge, this journey. So yeah, so I slept in, was super productive afterwards. My daughter went to her boyfriend's house today so that I could just actually have the space to myself for the afternoon and into the evening. And when she came back, we watched another episode of Gilmore Girls together. And then I went back to working when she went to bed, and because I was still going, because obviously I didn't wake up till almost noon. And, just flowing with my day and following the nudges, following what felt most aligned to do, and all of that, and still checking off the things that needed to be done, but also doing the things that felt amazing. So all in all, you know, a great energy, a great day. Also kind of set up a little bit of automation that will save me some time going forward. Revamped my CEO schedule, which is one of those things that as a mom of young children, right, who are not all in school yet, I have to sort of continuously reevaluate it. I have to look at it and be like, am I making the most effective use of my time? Am I doing things in a way that makes the most sense for my life today, kind of thing, right? For my life right now. And I try not to change it too often because, um, I love to plan. I love to fill out calendars and agendas and, um, even like color code everything and all of that stuff, right? I love doing that stuff, but actually sticking to it ongoing is the harder part. So I try not to go too overboard with it and over plan it and then not stick to it. Instead, I try to just really evaluate, like look at it and go, okay, what needs to shift, what absolutely has to change, and how can I very simply change it on my schedule and know what it looks like going forward without going too crazy into all of the rest of that. So I've been doing that. I did that today. Made some shifts that feel really amazing and should make things easier for me ongoing, which is fantastic. Everything this year, my biggest goal, not my biggest, my word for this year is independence. Just creating a life where I can be completely independent and not need to rely on anyone else financially, because my outside financial sources have been unreliable, right? So I want to be able to rely on myself and just be completely independent financially. Not that the fathers of my children shouldn't pay their child support or things like that, but just where I don't need it, or will like fall flat on my face if I don't have it, right? But beyond that, my goal for my business is automation, is taking away a lot of the time that I have to put into my business, um, in order to keep things running on the day-to-day basis. And I have been doing that. And um, automating even my schedule a little bit so that I have just these reminders of like, hey, this is today's focus. This is, um, the topic of the day. So I have like so many different programs that I offer, and a lot of the time they're scrambled up together throughout my week. And I'm okay with it to an extent. I'm great at transitioning between tasks. It's a skill that I've mastered, but I also know that it is less effective, that it is less productive, and that time blocking is ideal. Now, the way that I set up my CEO schedule is so that I can say, okay, like today is my topic for today, or my focus for today is my Butterfly Network membership, which is my low ticket business membership, business coaching membership for spiritual women starting out online. And that is like my Monday focus. So on Mondays, I have my open coaching hours for my membership. I have time to go in and schedule posts that need to go out. I have time to write the emails that I want to always be sending to remind them of things, but don't necessarily always remember to do because I've had things so jumbled up. I have the time to plan and write my notes for and find a day on my schedule for my live monthly trainings, and then also repurpose those for my bingeable business podcast and all of that. So having my focus for the day doesn't mean that I have to time block in a way where it's like, okay, I have to do emails first and I have to do this next and this and that. And that. I get to pick and choose, which is one of my like ultimate hacks that um, my business boot camp focuses on, is creating a schedule that gets to be flexible with you so that you get to follow your energy. Um, so it's a method that I absolutely adore, that I expanded on when I met Caitlin and learned how to do cycle syncing, to sync up my hormone cycles with everything else so that I know when I'm going to have the energy for certain things throughout the month. At least somewhat, right? Maybe not perfectly. We're human and we fluctuate. But it makes such a big difference when, especially when you work for yourself and you don't have to show up every day. It makes such a big difference to know, okay, what kind of activities do I need to be scheduling at this time of the month so that I can be looking forward to them and wanting to show up for them instead of resisting it. Because especially with ADHD, doing something that I don't feel like doing is like pulling teeth. So building my schedules in a way that helps me to lean into it instead of resisting my own energy is incredible, right? And it's just a total game changer. Um, so yeah, that's like my Monday focus, right? My Tuesday focus is more on collaborations because that's usually when I meet with Jess and Kelly, and we are planning our Spiral of the Rose podcast, and we are recording things, and we're planning things, and whatever. So that is already something that's set on Tuesdays. So I decided to make that my collaborations day. So anyone that I am planning to meet with or create collaborations around or prepare for my part in a collaboration, I'll do that kind of stuff on Tuesdays and so on. So that is, um, I'm not going to detail my full schedule for you guys, but that's the type of thing that I was looking at today, and organizing it in that way made the most sense for my life right now, the way that it is. And, and then within those days, I get to, choose, okay, am I working during the morning and having my little one sit beside me? And just sort of, she can color, she can craft, she can watch a show, play a game, whatever. All of these things, do her makeup. She's 4 and she got a little bit, play makeup for her birthday and she loves doing that, or, things like this. Or am I going to choose to turn off all the screens, and on certain mornings, we'll go out to the playground and ride bikes and go for walks and take the dog and, all of these things, and plant and be in nature, and on and on and on. And I get to choose. I get to say, okay, today is my business membership focus, but I don't have a lot of other things to do. So this morning we are going to go and just play and be together, and I get to be present with my daughter. And this afternoon while she's napping, I'll be in my open coaching hours, right? My open office hours or whatever I named it. I can't remember, but I get to flex like that. I get to choose from day to day, and know, okay, I have these things to do today, and that leaves me with this much flexibility, and what am I going to do with that flexibility, right? And I get to structure my day based on my energy that day, based on the night I had the night before with my kids, based on all of it. And I love, 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 love working in my business this way. So actually, if that's something that sounds like you could use some guidance on, um, you'll want to be part of my business boot camp, which I will be running again this summer. I have not picked a date for it yet. I'll be doing a mid-year refresh. But you can also get this type of support to plan your business, to plan your days, learn the habits, learn the skills, learn the routines, all of that, to manage life in this way, inside of my business membership. And there's also the Suspending Disbelief coaching pod with Kelly and I, where you get 2 mentors for the price of 1, and you can set do your scripting at the beginning of it and then be held accountable to it and be reminded of and kept in the mindset and in the energy of suspending disbelief by having these 2 coaches. So there's, all of these concepts that I'm talking about. These are things that I'm embodying in my day to day. And if you would like support with them, I do offer things to support you with it. So I'll put those links in the show notes. And if that is what you're looking for right now, amazing. Anyway, so aside from all of the productivity today, and allowing myself to sleep in and allowing myself to pause to watch Gilmore Girls with my daughter and, all of this, I really feel the alignment, the ease of automating things, including my schedule in my business, in my day-to-day life, in everything. And I really just, um, I cannot say enough how much this challenge has amplified the skills I already had, the wisdom, the knowledge I already had, and has added to it by tuning me into my intuition so much more deeply, more powerfully, where I can trust myself so, so fully and completely let go and suspend disbelief and just know and like know deeply that I'm going to succeed, that my success is inevitable, that my success is already here, that I am ready, right? I'm ready for all of it to come in now. I've actually got my life to a point where if it all came in tomorrow, I would not crash and burn, right? My life wouldn't just fall apart. And that's the problem with a lot of the time when we're trying to manifest something is that we are calling in something that we're not quite ready for. There's definitely been points, but I shouldn't even say points, but previously if I had had my full manifestations show up in one day, I would have crashed and burned so hard because, too much money all at once, not having built up the financial skill set, the financial habits to be watching and maintaining and paying things at the right time and knowing what the priorities are and all of that. Those are not my strong suits. So having to be very careful and very aware of my money and watch what I'm paying and know what needs to be paid when and all of that, that needs to happen first. And having a plan for where the money goes when the money comes in, that needs to happen first. And having my business set up to the point where I can handle the number of clients that would come in to be able to achieve the success that I'm calling in because if there are a bunch of blips in my automations, if there's a bunch of mistakes on my website or things that are not flowing smoothly with my automations, that is a huge holdup to the process of clients coming in. And if they even do get in the door, then there's all this back end work that still has to be done versus it just being done and me not having to worry about it and just having to show up for my clients and energetically hold that space for them, show up, do the things that I promised to do inside of my programs, and then spend the rest of my time with my kids and being present and working on myself and on learning and on growing and doing the self-care and being a mom and all the things. And it's so incredible, the shift behind the scenes, which is what I'm trying to shed light on in this podcast, right? It's the behind the scenes shift that has really happened that is like actually okay. And not completely. Okay, I will say that there are still things I'm working on in the background as far as automations go, as far as things running smoothly on my website go, whatever. But I've made huge leaps and bounds with that because I'm focusing on the right things at the right time. I'm trusting that my intuition, my nudges, all of that are leading me to be exactly where I should be at the right times. I'm not resisting the energy. I am not putting things off that need to happen, so on and so forth. And it is creating the stability in my business, in my life, in my energy. But really, like the biggest thing is in my business, in the ability to hold the number of clients that I'm calling in, at the level that I'm calling in, who will be high touch, high energy clients, right? So that's really incredible to me. And starting out at the beginning, if I had known that like less than 50 days in, I would be at that point. Well, I mean, okay, I chose to suspend disbelief, so I did believe that I would be anyways, but I guess I didn't necessarily assume, right, that I would be here yet. I figured it's a 365-day thing, so at 365 days that, and I mean, I didn't really think it through like this, but I kind of would have assumed that it might take most of the year to get to that point. And as I said, I'm not quite all the way there yet, but I've made such huge leaps and bounds towards it in less than 50 days. And that is, who is not willing to spend a couple of months, 60 days, getting to the point where they're able to hold and receive the clients, the income, the all of it that they are calling in. And I can't think of a single person who would not be willing to do that, especially if they've previously spent years trying to build out their business and years trying to reach the success that they've been desiring, right? And this challenge, this journey of suspending disbelief has really put me on a path of um these micro shifts, right? That are making massive, massive pivots to the end line, to the, when you're at the beginning and you make a little shift, it's tiny, but the angle that you're shooting towards shifts so massively when you are looking at it farther out, right? So I'm not sure. Sometimes these visual things are very hard to explain verbally. And sometimes I wish that I was doing a video podcast, but then mostly I'm like, nope, it's right before bed. I'm not going to care about what I look like or any of that stuff. I don't want to be on camera right before bed. So anyway, enough babbling, but it's been so massive. It's been so powerful. Everything is changing. Everything is amazing, even when it's hard. And I'm just so, so glad that I'm on this journey. And I'm so grateful for all of you who are listening and following along and being inspired and inspiring me as well with your stories that you share, with your steps that you're taking. And I just want you all to know that I love you so, so much. And thank you for listening. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.